They have to, again, help me with the orientation a bit. So, again, putting it at Yoshi's nose. How's that? Was that like there for the sombrero?
Yeah, actually, that was fine.
Okay. Well, hopefully this is working because we're filming. And if we screw this up, then I will cry profusely from my eyes. I don't know what that... Okay, so we're already doing this. Okay. Yeah. Hi. My name's Nedu Jackham. You may know me from such videos as the last video, and the video before that one, and the video before that one. And back again is my good friend and wino, Tiffany.
Hi, remember me?
She's here. She kidnapped me. She won't leave me alone. I'm scared. Just joking. She's okay.
I did have old friends for dinner.
Speaking of terrifying segues that imply cannibalism, we're here to talk about Hannibal.
I'm so excited.
I am a huge fan of the show, but Tiffany makes my fandom look like non-fandom. I didn't have a good thing for that. I should have thought of something before I said it, but I didn't. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, yeah, I really like the show, but this woman is crazy. We would call her a Fannibal because she is insane. And she posted all over Tumblr. Oh, sorry. Sorry, it's embarrassing.
No, I do use Tumblr, and the Hannibal fandom is... There's even a run over onto Facebook right now, but it's pretty much the executive producer, Brian Fuller, running the Twitter show. And I have not felt such affection for a executive producer in my life personally. I know that some people are really into Community.
No, I don't know who those people are. I love that show. I want to shoot it right into my veins. Excuse me, sorry. Anyway.
You haven't even... It took us so many takes to get this camera correct in my apartment that, I mean, I didn't... This has been going on for a while, and...
This is all her.
I would like you to notice what type of wine I am drinking.
Ho ho. If you watch Hannibal, you know.
Frankly, if you know anything about Hannibal. So I believe that Nedu does know things about Hannibal.
I know something.
He is the person who told me to start watching the show. So if you remember from the previous episode that I made a regrettable and yet well-reviewed appearance on?
Ha ha. It wasn't regrettable. It was terrifying. I don't know why you're back.
Because I told you I was gonna come back, whether you liked it or not. This really does not make it seem like you wanted me here at all.
It sounds so bad. We actually are friends, and I did want her. Just so we're clear, I did want her to come back. So.
Yeah, all right.
Sure.
No, we had talked about reviewing television shows because I know that Ndu is usually the video game guy, but we've talked about TV in the past.
Yeah, TV's fun, especially shows like this. And I think these weird genre shows are things that I would really like to talk about, especially when they have such cult appeal. Because this show, the fans are, like Community, are freaking crazy. The fans are insane, but it's critically rated really high with very powerful and vocal fan base, but its ratings are low because not a lot of people are watching it. Actually, that's something I did want to mention because while this show was airing, there were 2 other murder shows on. That's right, not one, but 2 murder shows. We had the less good but very, very impressive Bates Motel, which I love, which had lots of echoes of Twin Peaks, which made it amazing. And then we had The Following, which was... that show had its moments, but it was really poorly done.
Has it been renewed for a second season?
You mean The Following?
Yes.
It has. The Following's numbers were amazing.
Yes, they were.
Which is silly to me because it's actually the worst of those shows, but it did the best.
Now, I haven't seen a lot of The Following. I do know a little bit about crime shows. I have seen a few episodes of Bates Motel, and I do approve for it as some sort of prequel.
I love it.
I could never get enough Norman Bates prequels, but that's because my speciality, perhaps, if I was to have one on this program?
The macabre.
The macabre, thank you. I am into old horror movies, so when I heard there was going to be a Hannibal show, I didn't quite know what to think, because the last few movies were not particularly well reviewed, and yet the books didn't quite go in chronological order, but there's a huge canon. If you know what I mean by canon, I mean there's a huge breadth. Do you think that's what I meant?
No, I know what canon means. I'm one of those nerds that always goes, it's not canon, you know. It's like, I'll be over here. Just, you can talk. You can just. Sorry. No, this is what I've driven her to. I've driven her to that. And I would apologize, but I have no shame.
There's a huge breadth of original material to work from. And the show Hannibal on NBC is currently starting out from Red Dragon. So we have the Will Graham character. And Nadu told me last time we hung out, I should start watching Hannibal. That was probably 2 months ago. And my life has been a upward spiral into Fannibalism.
Fannibalism. They consume it. right? It's like the material. They could, because it's a joke. God, come on, that was good.
When you stop being exceptionally corny, I'll stop drinking the rest of this wine.
Well, I guess okay. That's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen. Anyway.
So, I have fallen completely in love with this show, and I cannot describe to you. I don't even think fun is the word. If fun is a word for a show filled with beautiful visuals, twisted, psychotic relationships, forensics, really good one-liners. I think good writing through the first season and really, really likable characters and good direction. Absolutely beautiful, very, very specific aesthetic that will be recognizable for years and years to come as this particular show. Then that is everything that I enjoy about Hannibal, and that is what has me hooked. On the flip side of that, you know very little about the Hannibal fandom.
Yeah, it's I seem to be a little cut off from that part of the internet these days.
So when you left off, you understood that Hannibal was likely not going to get renewed. It was about 2 months ago.
Yeah, I was really sad and scared about it. Again, because the numbers weren't that great. So I pretty much was like, and I was mad, of course, because the following was doing so great, and I didn't think it quite deserved the praise it gets. So, yeah, that's not the case anymore.
Not anymore! Fannibal's completely took over. It was ridiculous. I started learning about the show a little behind the scenes, and I thought these characters were super likable, and I really liked the dynamic between Will Graham and Hannibal Lecter, obviously. And so through Tumblr, I learned that there was a huge following, and there is beautiful fan art. There is fan mixes, there is fan videos, everything is edited beautifully, there's, essays written, there's really, really, really relatable fan fiction. Everything is going on in the fan sphere that any fandom normally would. And then there is this huge, huge crack offshoot. And by crack offshoot, I mean it's hilarious and it's raunchy and none of it makes sense with the actual show. And we're mostly just putting Comic Sans font on top of pictures of Mads Mikkelsen that plays Hannibal Lecter. And I thought that this was one of those things where fans go crazy and nobody knew, and it was cute. And it was like, Benedict Cumberbatch and Martin Freeman who play Watson and Sherlock, and how the fandom took off with them as this, sort of fictional bromance. And then I realized that the person that was putting them together the most in this light was probably Brian Fuller, the executive producer.
Awesome.
And his Twitter is hilarious, and I have exposed you to that a little bit.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing.
It's a little bit scary.
It's terrifying, but it's amazing, and that's smart because he really, I think he really sees that the fans are putting those two together, so he's playing that up, and that's not a bad idea. He's really speaking to the fans, like, yeah, those characters are kind of bromancy, a little bit, just a little bit.
Anybody watching the show, Hugh Dancy is adorable, and he plays Will Graham, and
he's
so
really sweaty.
Will on the show, he's constantly sweaty. He's so sweaty,
so
and when
crazy.
he's having all those nightmares, and we thought that he was descending into the depths of his mind and into a metaphor of drowning in water. It looked like a pool of his own sweat, basically.
It was a little gross. But he's adorable, so it's fine.
So Hugh Dancy, that plays him, is an absolutely fabulous little British actor, and I saw him today on the Hannibal, Fannibal, Pannibal
What?
at San Diego Comic-Con today.
I wish I was there.
We are in the... I wish I was there too. Can we have a moment for Nadeau and I's bank accounts and the fact that we are not in San Diego right now? I don't want to talk about it. Let's not do this again.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Every
Don't
time
cry. We cry on this
this
video
wine
too
is really salty.
Really?
It's filled with your tears.
I'm sorry. It's just Comic-Con. I know somebody who's there right now, and I hate my life.
We all know somebody who's there right now, frankly. But I did watch the panel. As Brian Fuller called it, the Hannibal Fannibal panel. He's
That's
worse.
just
He's
too
like
awesome.
a fangirl. He's
Brian
like a
Fuller's
19-year-old
amazing.
fangirl. He is amazing, but he's a very talented writer. And so it was Brian Fuller. It was one of the directors, and Hugh Dancy also showed up on the panel. And I was interested that most of the fans that got up and asked questions were women, and I could tell that that's probably a little bit at least to do with the Slash fandom right now, the bromance that sort of... I'm so shocked! But the crowd was a mix of both genders, but it was interesting because it was, again, absolute Fannibal mayhem that some of them asked, where can you post where Mads Mikkelsen is getting his beautiful tweed suits? Can you tell us if Hannibal's relationship with Abigail Hobbs was or is related to his memories of his sister that he lost during the war, and it's all tied to other novels that they haven't gotten to yet. That's from Fannibal Rising. That's something completely different, and so they actually spoke about how long the show is going to go on.
Oh. Good.
So it would be so beautiful. Like, I want more. Everybody watching this show wants more.
Good.
And it was a little bit of a community joke. I thought that somebody said we could go on 7 seasons. And a friend watching Hannibal said to me, 7 seasons and a movie.
Oh my god.
And I said 7 seasons and a cooking show.
Gross. And then you take the person and then you chop them to pieces.
Have you watched Mads cook on that show? It is a thing of beauty. And his dainty Danish fingers in the freezer.
Oh my goodness.
Just reaching to...
I think one of my favorite scenes...
And he reaches away, and it's full of liver.
Oh my god.
It's full of livers.
Do you remember the episode with the... I think it was the episode with the violin guy where it had that montage of him cooking people? Like, it's disgusting because it makes it... Like, it's so fucked up.
Beautiful.
It's so fucked up because it's so beautiful and the food looks good. Even when he's, making human meat, it looks good. When he's chopping up lungs and stuff like that, you're just like, that looks delicious. And then you notice you're eating meat while you're watching the show and you're like, but then you keep eating.
Do you eat every time you watch Hannibal?
Every single time.
Me
and I do
too.
it consciously. I don't even realize I'm eating every time I'm watching the show.
Every once in a while I have chosen to consciously eat while watching Hannibal just because it became like a funny thing. Mm-hmm. But the first couple times, I realized I was just watching it around dinner time on Thursdays.
Yeah.
Thursdays with the day. Thursdays empty in my heart now. I have nothing to do on Thursdays.
There's a Hannibal-shaped hole in my heart.
Hannibal-shaped hole in my heart. And it is handsome and it has high cheekbones.
Oh, that just slice.
Mads. Cheekbones.
Through the air.
Sorry, I'm getting distracted by thinking about Mads Mikkelsen.
Can't help it. Can't help it.
You can't. I don't care what gender you are.
Orientation and gender. He is.
Transcends orientation and gender.
Yeah, he is a handsome man.
He's a handsome man.
Not that I would ever admit that loud. On video.
I don't remember what we were talking about.
Well, I'm sorry. I was thinking about Mads. What were we talking about?
Comic-Con.
Right.
There was some very thought-provoking questions, and they asked them about how far the show is going to go. I also hope that it continues to go through all of the books.
That would be
awesome. And by this token, if it's at the beginning with Will Graham, I don't know if we'll get to Clarice. Like, I'm not sure what exactly would happen there. We'd have to take Will as far as he goes, because Hugh Dancy is... I believe he was supposed to be the star of the show. Do you think that Mads Mikkelsen as Hannibal Lecter took that from him? Or do you think it was always supposed to be... It is Hugh Dancy. He does have the majority of the screen time.
Yeah.
Do you think that Mads, his performance has just overwhelmed that?
That's a really good question. Personally, for me, I honestly feel that. I mean, this is personally for me because whenever I'm watching these shows about serial killers, I always tend to endorse towards serial killer is wrong. You're a bad dude. Even when I'm watching Dexter, he's the hero. But I'm always like, Dexter, you're a bad dude.
Anti-hero almost.
Yeah, he is an anti-hero. And I'm watching the show, I'm like, Dexter, you're bad. I hope you get caught. And I feel bad for you, but I hope you get caught. I think for me it's kind of the same. I feel more bad for Will because, and I'm lean towards Will being the star for me. Because, even though Mads Mikkelsen's performance is just so overwhelming. Like he's got this weird charisma about him. Even when he's silently moving about what he does, he's so calculating. He just glides.
Silently
moving. Just glides.
He's a glider.
He's just. I'm sorry. I was thinking about Mads. I blacked out. But the point I'm trying to make is that his performance is so overwhelmingly powerful, and I really do think that he probably did take that a bit from Will. From Hugh Dancy. And personally, for me, I'm still in Hugh Dancy's camp because he's Will, and I feel bad for him. And he's the
Team Free Will.
Yeah, Free Will.
Team Free Will.
Yeah, Free Will. It's bad.
Someone help Will Graham.
Please, he just
not
needs a hug.
You, Dr. Lecter.
You're a bad dude.
No
Lecter.
one was looking at you.
No, you're bad.
No
you're
one
mean.
was looking at you.
He just needs a hug. He just needs several hugs. Okay, several hugs.
Hannibal has put his hand on his shoulder.
Yeah.
He's touched his hand. We took the gun away from him.
That's true.
Put a shock blanket around him. A very Sherlock move.
Yeah, that was.
He smelled him.
He did. Did you just smell me? It's one of my favorite lines of this show. It's so good. Oh man.
I can't believe they get away with the majority of things they do. Oh, but that's a topic for another 5 minutes from now. So to sum up San Diego Comic-Con though, the joke was like after there was very nice questions, and a girl who was dressed as the Nightmare Stag that Will sees, that was her Comic-Con costume. That's what she chose.
Awesome.
And I believe her bag, or she had just drawn the clock that Will draws in his psychosis. She asked a really good question, and then somebody asked about the blatant homoeroticism of the television program.
What?
Hugh Dancy, if you don't know, is very, very British, and he kind of like just tittered to himself. And he said very clearly, while I do not believe it is sexual, there is a relationship between the two men that is being explored in the show. And Brian Fuller took almost the mic from him and said, there is a love there. There's a definition of love. That's a love. They're in love. Like, that's what I heard Brian Fuller say.
I heard him say love, and it was concerning the two of them, so they're in love.
And then the whole audience just went bananas. Fans
are crazy, and I love them.
Animals. It was a good day to be a Fannibal, and that is why I wanted to get this episode done with you today, to just cover this, because if you are not watching Hannibal, give it a try. The show is very serious. It's got a lot of dark humor in it, and it is beautiful. It's perplexing. It makes you angry.
Yeah. And one thing actually I really like about the show too is lots of people that know me know that I am very much against police procedurals, not because it's just because they are very samey and they're usually quite corny. I mean, people get mad at me for this, but I'm not even a huge fan of Castle for that very reason. Some episodes are really amusing, but then other episodes are pretty basic because, again, they just fall, and it's not even the show's fault. It just falls into that police procedural, but things with like, what's it called? Law and Order Special, SBU or Rookie Blue or, those type of shows, or Flashpoint or whatever, sure, fine. They're just not for me. But this show transcends that. Even though it is technically a police procedural, there are some things it does very well. Specifically, the way Will breaks down a crime scene is so unique and intriguing, where he literally puts himself in that scene. And you've seen this kind of thing in Dexter, except the way he just completely absorbs himself. And it's shocking, terrifying even, to see him committing these awful acts. And sometimes cold and calculated will do that. Other times you can see him like getting really into it. It's horrible.
And that's part of Will's own psyche, his own mental state, I think, is that breakdown, where the times he's more into it, you're wondering, is that him? Is the Lawrence Fishburne's character, Jack Crawford, has he made a mistake bringing him back into the FBI? And so I think it's gorgeous to see such an in-depth exploration of those points in the novels and in Will Graham's character. And I do think he's become the sweetheart of the show. As much as I believe that Mad's portrayal of Hannibal is fascinating, and it is a break from the police procedurals. There was an episode, I think it was maybe 6, but where it's more so there is and maybe the one with the angel maker actually, which is disgusting. If you haven't seen that episode, it's just beautiful, and I can't believe NBC got away with that.
Yeah, I'm shocked. This is network TV. This is HBO.
I can't believe it's network.
It's more shocking than Dexter sometimes. Like, seriously?
It is really. But then the rest of the episode was, about Hannibal and Abigail Hobbs and the sort of father role that he takes on with her. And so anything that has that divergence where it's still emotional, and yet you step back and you say, no, he is the psychopath or the sociopath killer.
Yeah.
And yet his part of the episode was the most emotional.
Absolutely.
Removed from the police procedural.
Yeah.
That's what kept me coming back.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so crazy because half the time Hannibal does shit just because he can and to see what happens. But then, I mean, especially some of the scenes where he's with his own psychiatrist, talk about his relationship with Abigail and talk about his relationship with Will. I think, was it one of the last episodes? At one point he even cried a little bit, where he was saying that he wanted to save Will. He was talking about Abigail, and he said that he thought for the first time that he understood why people had children.
Kids, yeah. Were those crocodile tears? Was that really him?
Yeah.
Was that you don't know?
I
wanted them to be real.
Yeah, exactly. I believed it.
I almost wanted them to be real, but then again, he is the villain of the piece.
Yep.
Sometimes I feel like Jack Crawford is the villain of the piece, honestly, but
every time I always forget that Lawrence Fishburne is a good actor, which sounds like a diss, but it's true. I see him in something like frickin' Predators. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Like, or even Man of Steel. I was like, Lawrence Fishburne, what the hell are you doing there? You're Pete White? Yeah, sure, no, that's fine. I get it. You're black. That's cool. But what the fuck are you doing? You're barely a character. Like, you're not even a character in this movie. But then in this show, he just puts so much, there's so much weight to his character because, you see him being the asshole, the asshole leader of the group, but then the other times you see him breaking down and showing vulnerability, especially when he's talking to Hannibal about his marriage.
Jack has eaten more of Hannibal's foods. He has attended more of Hannibal's dinners than anyone.
I've tasted this before.
This is delicious. Every time, though, that's one of the biggest jokes, that goes around Tumblr and fan art and everything is, oh, what are we having for dinner, Hannibal? It's delicious. And it's just literally like a flayed body, and Hannibal's like, steak. He does it. Jack is the most oblivious thing, and it makes it better. It's the constant in-joke. I believe that if Hannibal sat at the head of that dinner table in a beautiful suit with some sort of paisley purple tie, and he had a neon sign that is constantly blink the word cannibal.
Yeah.
But I am cannibal. Behind his head.
Yeah.
Jack would still compliment him on the white sauce.
I love this white sauce. Also, the Chesapeake killed one of my progeny. But this sauce is delicious. That's him, because he's looking around.
That's Jack.
He doesn't. He's looking there. He's there. He's not seeing the sides. Not seeing the sides.
I feel that this has been a good, almost comedic opportunity for Lawrence Fishburne, which is again kind of sick if you watch the show.
The humor is pitch black.
Can we talk about Team Sassy Science a little bit?
Right. Yeah. Oh gosh, I always forget to mention those characters because they're fun. They're a little silly.
Kooky forensics.
Exactly. I like the part where the two of them were the two guys, I cannot remember their names, which I'm sorry.
Zeller and Price.
Zeller and Price, when they're like, oh, I was looking for a return to the basics of science and forensics. Because they're going on Will's predictions all the time. And don't get me wrong, they trust him, but at some point they're just like, oh, wait, we're doing work again.
Oh, wait, this is our job.
Yeah.
This is what we're supposed to do, not listen to the psychic, essentially, really.
Yeah, it was pretty good. It's pretty good.
Do you know where the show was filmed?
Isn't it filmed in Toronto?
It is filmed in Toronto.
Yeah.
And that finally put the piece in my head where I figured out where Scott Thompson came from. Were you ever a Kids in the Hall fan?
I know of it.
So Scott Thompson, who plays Jimmy Price in the show, the slightly older and very acerbic, I would say, member of Team Sassy Science, is Scott Thompson. I mean, he's a classic Canadian comedian. I think he's darling, and I was so shocked to see him on that show. And yet he's very deadpan, and he still has good screen presence. So I think that's part of the team that is put together so well. And after people saw them coming back, they're cute recurring characters. Okay, I don't enjoy Freddie Lounds, but she is a very consistent recurring character and obviously very deviated from the books.
Oh yeah, I guess you were saying he was a dude. He was a dude in the books, right?
Freddie Lounds is described as being basically Philip Seymour Hoffman in appearance, but sweatier and dirtier. And it kind of seems like a very classic TV joke to make Freddie Lounds' first appearance, topless from the back with those perfect curls. I also believe that they are lying when they say it takes over a year to produce the show, and that all of the CGI budget goes into, the stag and goes into all of the beautiful, beautiful murderous special effects. I think that her hair is CGI.
Your hair's pretty red.
And I think that is how it is in absolute perfect curls all the way down.
I bet that takes a year to prepare, probably.
And that's it, and they shoot for 2 days.
Yeah, exactly. We're done, guys. Freddie's like, can I get these curls out? Good lord.
It's not even a real hair, it's a wig.
Get it off. It's like a freaking head crab.
I mean, I do believe she's just a good Half-Life reference, by the way.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry there's no video games in this, but man.
Hannibal. It's all good.
Fannibals. And I do enjoy NBC's interpretation of Freddie Lounds. I think she's just as vicious, really. And every illusion that Hannibal has eaten somebody for being rude has completely changed the meaning of being rude for me.
Yeah, exactly.
In everyday conversation.
She texted me earlier today that she shouldn't be rude because she knows what happens when people are rude. And I pretty much burst out laughing at work. It's pretty bad. Don't be rude. She's gonna eat ya. Anyway, I'm also scared. Actually, maybe talking about the other female characters. Specifically, I really do like Alana Bloom. She is portrayed by Carolyn Davernez, I believe. I know her specifically from Wonder Falls, which is another Brian Fuller show.
I know of, but I haven't seen specifically.
It's great. I mean, I'm not gonna get too into it, but Brian Fuller is amazing. He always does so much really interesting shows like this, like he's done Wonder Falls, Dead Like Me, as well as Pushing Daisies. And it's weird because I see echoes of those shows in this show, mostly in the aesthetics, not because of the similar aesthetics so much as the way he is very specific about
also
the way he wants it to be.
Constantly recurring actors, really.
Yes, that too. Yeah, he tends to bring people back, which I always love because they're all great actors. But her character, I really like her. Like at first, I think the first episode she kind of was there and like, oh, she's gonna be the girlfriend. But no, she's an important part of Will's team. In the sense that I feel like she's a character that honestly has the best intentions for Will. She
is possibly, I believe, the only character that has the best intentions for Will.
No, you're right? Because on one side he's got Crawford pulling in one direction. I need you to do this work, even though it's bugging you the hell out. And Hannibal being like, hey, you're a dance puppet, dance. Also, I want to sex you. But she on the other hand, even though she does have feelings for him, but she said, but she wants what's best for him. She wants him to be safe and be okay. And at one point when they are starting to get closer and closer, she has to pull back. She's like, you are damaged. This is bad for both you and I. And he honestly is like, you're not wrong. I think that's something that a lot of female characters don't get the benefit of, because oftentimes they're thrown on TV and they're like, I'm the beautiful scientist person, but also, I'm so sexy. But she comes in, she does her job, she's very effective at it, and she's also saying, hey Will, listen, I'm not going to throw myself at you because you are in pain, a lot of it. So awesome.
I was gonna say, I'm not the kind of Slash fan or the bromance fan to throw the female lead under the bus really for that. I think that Hannibal and Will have enough moments in the actual show.
Yes, they do.
Alana is Her presence as a romantic lead, I thought, was tolerable. I was okay with it, but then she really evolved as a character, and when I saw her essentially hanging out with Hannibal, I thought it was quite clever, and the fact that Hannibal has an established relationship with every character on the show is twisted and sick, and also drives the plot point just wonderfully.
Absolutely.
Alana has become, I'm okay with her being that sort of sympathetic character, actually. She is not omnipresent, constantly pining that Will is being abused. It's really, and I don't want to speak to the finale in case people haven't seen it, they're catching up, but she just has this beautiful, beautiful emotional scene in the finale, and it broke my heart. But, and yet you could see how strong her... you could see how strong the character was even after that when she went back to Will.
That's true.
I am a fan of strong female characters in Brian Fuller's shows, honestly.
So am I. He does, like, I mean, I feel like he and Joss Whedon are two directors and producers that actually do focus on that quite a bit. Even if the female characters aren't the stars, they do have strong roles, and they're also, you know, they're there for a reason. They're not just there to be like, hey, male character, you go do that thing that's awesome. I'm here to be saved.
That's exactly what I thought was going to happen.
Anyway, sorry.
You're not even drinking. You're not even drinking the Chianti.
I'm just always like this.
We had fava beans for dinner. I'm not kidding. So, I also really love Beverly. We're talking about Beverly as the female member of Team Sassy Science.
Yeah, Team Sassy Science.
She is adorable.
She is awesome.
Did anybody else think in the first couple episodes that maybe she has a little bit of a weird crush on Will when she shows up at the shooting range and she's talking to him and he calls her when he thinks that Georgia is under the bed.
Yeah, that's right. I don't want to. There's a monster. There's literally a monster.
There's literally a monster under the bed.
Yeah.
Can I say that I had? We are in my apartment, by the way. These are my antlers for dramatic effect. Did you not know they were back there?
Holy sh! More scared than I was before. Hey, buddy.
You look delicious. So, we are in my apartment, and I moved into my apartment the Friday after that episode had aired. I watched that episode, and I was so scared. I don't think I went to bed that night. I think I suddenly realized that I needed to unpack dishes all night. And certainly not step near a bed where somebody could grab me out from underneath.
Pull you under, just slash your throat.
I cannot believe how frightening that episode, and that is what is bringing classic horror back to television.
Absolutely.
And that is what is bringing actual, do you think it's bringing actual fear back to network television?
I would say so, because, I mean, I'm not, like, okay, like, I hate saying this because people are like, oh, Daddy, you're a big tough guy. Anybody who knows me knows that's not true. I'm like a child. It's amazing I've survived this long on my own. I'm also a big suck. Like,
I need an adult.
I need an adult is a common thing that I yell because I get scared easily. But when I'm watching TV and movies, I generally just don't get scared. Like, I just don't. You know, it's not something that scares me. But even watching shows that I really like American Horror Story has some pretty frightening imagery, but it doesn't really scare me. Even most murder shows I watch, things like Dexter, you know, things where horrible things happen, like True Blood, whatever, it doesn't scare me. This show, I literally felt uneasy for a lot of it, and it is just frightening, absolutely frightening imagery. Like, I'm watching, I'm like, wow, that is terrifying. Like, I mean, the person totem pole, what the fuck was that?
It was gorgeous in a homicidal rage way.
Yeah,
it was very